Hello, welcome to GM Tips. GM Rick here. With the Pirates of the Caribbean coming out right now, I am on a Pirates kind of thing right now. And I'm not running it for my players, but I gotta say I love a Pirate campaign. And I hope to do more of them again. I really and truly want to restoke another one. And in a real pirate setting. And the cool thing about pirate campaigns is you can do a lot and draw from a lot of different adventures. And you don't have to put it all into Galarian. You can put it into Galarian. You can make your own home brew. You can do your own D&D. The great thing about a lot of the pirate systems is they're adaptable. You've got 7th Seas, which is out there, which a lot of people swear by and love. You have the setting of Freeport from Green Ronin. You have Razor Coast, which is out there, which I love. I can't wait to get that someday, Razor Coast. Very neat setting. I gotta say, when it comes to third-party publishers for D&D 4, D&D 5, 3.5, Pathfinder, Dungeon World, 13th Age, even, heck, with Midgard. Even Midgard has done pirate type of settings on the West. So I really love it. And again, old D&D, AD&D, they did in Greyhawk. Remember, they were pirate captains, the pirate captains that were there. So, and Faerun had the same thing. So you've got so many neat settings, and it seems like people just in general love a pirate campaign. They just do. And your players don't always have to be the pirates. They can be privateers, they can be pirate catchers, they can have a lot of different twists and turns to what they're doing. They can be infiltrators. They can be set to just the fact that they got marooned in the middle of the pirates, and they're just trying to make their way and step closely as they can without getting keel-hauled. So there's just a lot of things you can do with it. I think the thing that baptized me into pirate settings was 3 things. Number 1, Savage Tide. The Savage Tide adventure done by Paizo Publishing for D&D. Love Savage Tide. That was just, to me, it was such a cool thing with the Vanderborens and the, oh gosh, the whole city setting for it. And then you had also dinosaurs and a lost coast. It was just, Savage Tide was just a cool setting. And those of you who played it will know it. I love Freeport. I have loved Freeport since Green Ronin has come out with it. Freeport is one of the coolest things. And in this case, they actually give you the map. And I've got it covered over, the whole map for Freeport. And I love Freeport, the City of Adventure. This book, look at this. This is a campaign setting. You want to never get bored of it. It's 540 pages of piracy. What the heck more do you want? You can just explore a section of Freeport, a part of the world. They even have their own world campaign setting they've given you, so you don't have to worry about it. You know, Razor Coast is the same way. Now, some of the other ones go a little lighter. Midgard goes a little lighter. They have it, but it's a little lighter. D&D, same way, a little lighter. Pathfinder even, yeah, not really. They've got the Shackle Isles. They've got the Shackle Isles setting that they have, as well as Skull and Shackle. And they've got other side adventures that have come out after it. And the pirates are so intricate in the fight against the Chelish Empire. So there's just so many settings, guys. I don't know what to tell you. If you haven't fallen in love with pirate settings, you gotta sometime. There's just something to be said about them. They're fun. They're fun to cook up. And there's just so many out there. So what are things that really you should look for in a pirate setting? Number 1, a good background history. You want to understand why and what is piracy in that world setting. Whether it's your own, or whether it's one of the ones you buy, or one of the ones you take and buy and you adapt. You have to make it make sense of why it exists. Is it legalized? Is it tolerated? Is it trying to be eradicated? If you think about it, if it's illegal, then like the Caribbean, the Pirates of the Caribbean, You've got whole naval empires that are trying to extinguish the pirates. And the only thing going for the pirates are their caginess and their ability to hire out to other naval powers. So as privateers and get a commute of your sentence. That's the only way, really, that you get around it. Otherwise, if it's illegal, they're going to try to eradicate it. So you've got to lay in your flavoring with your players of why it exists. Don't go in big detail, just enough that it gives the would-be pirates or the would-be dealers of the pirates an idea of why and what they're up against. So that's number one. Number two, the mythology of it all. Are there deities? Are there, seaborne deities that you are really putting? If you just pick the main god of the ocean or goddess of the ocean, you are limiting the real idea. Like Calypso was seen as a goddess of the sea that the pirates looked to. They looked at Calypso as their goddess. Besmara is the goddess in Pathfinder and Paizo in the inner sea setting. What's the god and goddess in Faerun? Greyhawk, Ghostwalk, Numenera, Cypher System. How about Savage Worlds? Seven Seas, Razor Coast, Freeport. You got to know who these things are. Like, for instance, Freeport, and they give a good thing on it. They're different gods and goddesses. Why are they important? Because in everyday life of a pirate is very different. And even in a town of pirates or a den of pirates than the rest of the world. It just is. Now, I love that they give a beautiful timeline and history on this. Love what Freeport and Green Ronin does. But let's give you the gods and goddesses. So they give you some things. So in looking at the temple district, they have a temple of the war god, the sea god, the chapel of hope, the god of pirates, and even shrines and other types of things. They leave it up to you to name them, which I kind of like that. Instead of just telling you who they are. They let you drop the name in. So it's great. It's adaptable to many systems, and you can just drop the names in there. And so, that just gives you a lot of flexibility and flavor. But knowing the piety of a pirate, what is a pirate's piety? Why would they even care about gods and goddesses? Would they worship them? Would they say little prayers to them? What is a pirate's prayer to them? What is their offering? Do they offer a ship? Do they offer goods? Do they offer somebody that they kill and throw in the water? What is the offerings that they do? There is spirituality even among pirates. Now, it's a den of thieves most days, but even different types of pirates. Not every captain was the same. Do you have female captains? Are they predominantly female? Are they male? You've got to lay out the captaincy structure. Like, for instance, the thing I like about Pathfinder is they have the Free Captain's Council. Love the same thing in Savage Tides with Greyhawk. They had a pirate council. They actually had a pirate king. Love the same about Freeport. There's the same thing, a pirate king and his council captains. It was how they kept the order without everybody just wiping each other out. Pirates of the Caribbean, same type of thing. They had a Free Captain's Council where they came together and they put in their pieces of 8. They didn't have 8, so they had other things. But it was their way of respect. And the Captain's Council, how it ruled, was how the final ruling and verdict was. It's how they kept some semblance of punishment, order, rules. Even though pirates hate rules, they had a certain structure that worked. Otherwise, they'd be killing each other off. And they had to unite against the sea powers that be. Otherwise, you just see lots of destruction. So keep in mind that as you're looking at this type of setting, these are things that you've got to take into account as you're putting it together. Now, I've talked about systems before, what I like, pirate campaigns, ships. That's another thing. Do you have ship pictures? Do you have a resource to give you ship stats? They used to in 3.5. 3.5 had a really good ship book on the, what was it? They had the Something of the Sea. And they had all these ships that you could draw from. Savage Tide, they had different ships. Skull and Shackle, they give you different ship and ship combat rules, as well as in the Ultimate Campaign Guide for Pathfinder. Do you have these ship things? If you don't, you need to create the stats on these. You need to have a basic outline diagram. Nice thing is a lot of these map companies have these little ship ones that are erasable ink that you can put together and build your own ship look. So it's really kind of cool. So you can get those flip mats or other type of mats that do that. You're having fun. Mini GM's playing with Lindsay Sterling over there. Okay, it's fine. You're doing fine. Push the up button a million times. That's what happens with a 6-year-old. It's too smart for them. My kids were like this, my other two, John and Becca. They were smarter than their own good. I didn't get to enjoy John as much, and Becca, I got to, but things just don't always work out that way, you know. So, having the different types of ships, so caravels, frigates, barks, junks, do you know the different ships and nautical terms? Familiarize yourself, DM and GM. You need to know them. Man of war. What is a man of war? What do they carry? What kind of space is there for weaponry? What type of weaponry? Is it catapults? Is it a bireme? Is it a trireme? Is it a sloop? What kind of craft do they have? See, I know my crafts. Not every little bit about them, but I know them. What's their movement rate? Can they ram? If they ram, how do they ram? What do they do to reinforce themselves to ram? Are they light enough to outrun? What are their speeds? What are their full run speeds? What skills do your players need to make them navigatable? How many hit points do they have? What's their hardness? What's their armor class? These are all factors you got to kind of know, unless your system just doesn't take those into account. Then you have other factors you have to play in. But again, you got to... To me, pirate campaigns aren't all about just let's board the ship. It's let's sail the ship. Let's know what we're doing. You got to deal with storms. You got to deal with sea monsters. You got to deal with all these kind of things. The Draugr, the drowned dead. What are you dealing with out there that you aren't dealing with on land? And there's challenges out there in the sea that land-based campaigns don't have. You're not in a port of call every night. You just aren't. When you're a pirate, you're out on the sea for many, many weeks, and then you make your way into a port of call eventually. When you're heavy with treasure or other types of things or booty, you're coming in. What kind of economic system do you use? Are you making everybody just... Is that Gloria? Okay. So are you making it so everybody just, trades in goods and has to be good about bargaining and haggling? Or do you give them an overall value? So you have 1 point of trade goods, 2 points of tobacco, 1 point of this, 1 point of that. See, it's so much easier. And then you can equate that into GP values. So the exchange rate stays pretty constant. She's singing over there. Gotta love the mini G. My kids too. All three of my kids have been silly like that. I love those years. So you have to really look at what are you trying to set up. So you got to set up the barter system because you're going to be raiding ships. You're going to be raiding ports. You're going to be raiding little towns. You're going to be coming in and being raiders, or you're going to be liberating from other pirates, cargo, slaves, other things. What are you doing, and what is the trade-in value, and what do you get for freeing these things? What kind of rewards? You have to have that system. Like in Paizo, the nice thing they have is they got fame and infamy. So fame is used with regular characters, and you get fame and prestige points. Fame is the amount of notoriety you gain in an area that will help you in your influences and roles, and to join organizations and get boons and banes. The prestige points let you buy the boons. So think of it this way. Fame only changes when you do something really cool or when you get run off. So it's influenced by people's perception of you. Prestige points is using that then in a liquid form to influence trade, smuggling, goods, discounts, better pricing, Maybe it's maybe free food or free rooms or other type of magical influences. It's a liquid form of bartering that is used. Your fame or infamy stays the same, but your prestige points go up and down. In the beginning, they match, but then they change over time. I love it because it allows you to then pick up little favors and other things. And I'm going to use it much more in upcoming campaigns, believe me. I've used it a little bit in this one, not as much. But a pirate campaign, frequently I used it. And it made a difference in how outcomes came, including votes in councils, whether people became part of the Free Captain Council or not. It played a big role. And so you want to have some sort of system. You don't have to use the existing ones, but have your own system that rates infamy, and then what can it be exchanged for in a liquid form? So some sort of prestige that allows them to get perks, role perks, other type of perks. Maybe it's advantages in D&D. You want to have something there, or it's an advantage in Numenera, some sort of advantage on a roll. And again, not Numenera, but Cipher System. I'm sorry, Monty and Shanna. Cipher System is their version that you can use for whatever system you want to set up. It's their basic core to Numenera, The Strange, and all these other ones. Just like Savage Worlds is to Harry Dresden and the Dresden Files and all these other campaigns. So, what are you going to do that? And you want to have that kind of laid out in a structure. And then what's day-to-day life like? Do they have jobs? Do they have ways that they're earning income? Are they earning a place, or do they have a hideout that they store things back at? Are they retrofitting and building ships? Are they going to have a large fleet, or are they just going to have one boat? Is each character going to have their own boat? Boy, wouldn't that be fun? Captain of their own ship, with one being the lead captain of that bunch. And then they have their own crews they have to recruit for Shanghai. So you got a lot of things you can play in there. And the cool part is that it's not based on any race or ethnicity. Piracy knows no bounds. Piracy and privateerism has been a part of every ethnicity, race, culture since the beginning of time. So it is a cool thing. It takes you to a level to where you let characters play kind of the anti-hero or the true villain or the scoundrel. What is Jack Sparrow? He's an anti-hero. He's heroic at times, but he's selfish. So, you know, if you wanted to go with those of you who like alignments, I do. Those of you who don't, then just ignore this. He's a chaotic neutral all the way. All the freaking way. But he leans a little bit good. There's some good in Jack. Even though it's jaded good. And it's always twisted around Jack. Remember, even if Jack's doing something heroic, he's doing it for Jack. It's always about Jack and Jack's tall tales. So never doubt that. Where Will and some of the others are about good and other things, Jack is Jack. And so really are the other characters in there. And that's what makes them so lovable and endearing, is that they are a little loudish. They're not your perfect good. They lean a little direction that way, but you know, they're neutral. A neutral good in that world of piracy is a lot different than a neutral good in regular life. There's a lot more gray areas and a lot more flexibilities and freedoms. So keep that in mind. And the cool thing about these campaigns is they're just so bawdy and boisterous. Yeah, you can let your players dress up if they want, but they don't have to. They can just get into it. It's so cool. You can teach them different lingo and give them different links and do that. Give them links to go to, because otherwise, why are you back there? Okay. Thank you. Well, I'm going to get shot by my fiance, but hey, you guys have seen AG, so no biggie, right? Yeah, big smile over there from her. She's my little geekus. My son was my little geek for a while, too. He's kind of grown now. My daughter's a geek, my oldest one, but not the same kind of geek. She's not an RPG geek, but she's got her own geek to her. She loves the Disney and some other things. Sorry, I get off track with these things, but it makes it fun, doesn't it? So again, ships, ways of building organization, day-to-day life, and terminology, getting used to a ship, getting used to the points of the ship, taking care of a ship. Ship doesn't take care of itself. Entrench these things. It's good. You know, the more you make them do to really be like they are doing this themselves, the more they're going to enjoy it. They really are. The tedium stuff that you think is tedium is not. It's the cool stuff that leads to them. Don't always just stick them up in the crow's nest. Have them doing different things. I have a navigator gnome. I love him. Flynn was one of my most favorite swashbuckling characters. I loved him to death. So did the party. He was a lot of fun, and he was a nut, but he was a lovable nut. So, you know, there's lots you can do, and you can automate things. You can do airships. God forbid, let's go to another thing. Let's go to the steampunk element. Your pirates don't have to be in 7th-sea ships. They can be in airships. So think of all your animes, your Hayao Miyazaki, and your other type of things that go on in that realm of anime with Funimation and some of the others, where they have actually done steampunk pirates. The steampunk is kind of cool. That goes into the pure steam system that I have up there for Pathfinder and D&D. You can use pure steam and convert it to D20-based systems real easy. GURPS has its own. Oh, yes, I've given GURPS a message. So those of you playing GURPS, you heard me. And I'm sorry, I've left GURPS out a lot. GURPS will also, it's more of a D6-based system and some other dice, but GURPS has a lot of great things and settings as well. It just takes you getting used to a different system and the system mechanic, but GURPS has a lot. And so you could do vampire, werewolf swashbucklers, steampunk pirates, steam pirates. There's just so much you can do. And the cool part, you can adapt these ones that are in water to where you've got airships too. Why wouldn't you? There's just so many cool things. Faerun, I don't know if you guys playing D&D 5e know this. There are airships in Faerun, in southern Faerun. That's one of the things I love most about that as a 3-5 system. There is a country of mages that has airships and sells them. And air cities. Like the Aeromancers. I love that setting. It was so cool. It gave you a steampunk. Eberron, or Eberron as some people call it. I like to call it Eberron. Eberron was another one of those settings that was really cool with steampunk-laced things. What is it? There was no one that was done not by Monty Cook, but was done by Ed Greenwood, I think. And it was Iron Kingdoms. That's what it was. Iron Kingdoms, another great system that you can do something like that. So have some fun with this, guys. I'm really playing it up for Pirates of the Caribbean, and go forth and do piracy.